Of Justin Bieber.
We're going live. And we're back with another one. Puerto Rico has come and gone, or I've come and gone, or gone and come to Puerto Rico, from Puerto Rico, back in the studio with my sister Amy, and we're talking about red flags. This is the antidote if somebody ever wants to manipulate me or manipulate you and get inserted into our family line by being close to one of our children. I think hypothetically, I'm even thinking through this conversation through if I ever had a son, the red flags I would have for his significant other he was bringing over to the house. I think you might be doing something similar. So potentially somebody could use this 10 or 12 or 15 years from now as a way of what are the red flags Amy would be looking out for when it comes to Khalil. In the same way with me, if I had kids 15 years from now or whatever the time range is, they could use this list as a way to manipulate the system to
and
hide
our good graces.
To hide the red flags until they have some kind of approval before they show their true colors. All right. You want to start with your first red flag?
Well, I was going to say, when I was making so we made our lists of red flags. We both wrote down red flags that we thought of, right? And when I was making my list, I wasn't 100% sure if it was like, I felt like there were so many ways to go. Like, I was thinking about it and I'm like, okay, I feel like some red flags that you have for like red flags for women, I guess that goes back into our like, double standards, like conversations. Like some red flags for women are different red flags than you have like for men. So a lot of the times like a guy doesn't have like a car or a job, then he's automatic red flag. But a lot of times girls, if they don't have a car or a job, it's like, oh, well, what else does she have? Everybody asks that question, like, what else does she have going on? But yeah, so as I was making my list, I was like, oh, red flags for girls, red flags for guys, green flags for girls, green flags for guys. And then I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm doing too much. So I just condensed it all down. That's all I was going to say. Okay.
Yeah. And I think similar. I was asking, I kind of wanted my red flags to be like really like, oh wow, I never thought about that, but all of mine are pretty basic. It's like oh yeah, like I was like I was wondering, do I have any unpredictable red flags? And maybe there might be, and you'll let me know. You push back and let me know like if that's a petty red flag or not. Maybe we'll have an ongoing evaluation on how petty the red flag is as each one of us go. Do you want to go first with your first red flag?
Yeah. So first red flag, I'm gonna start from the bottom of mine. Okay, so first red flag I would say is if somebody's a runner.
What?
So, okay. A runner. So, like, anytime there's conflict, anytime there's a problem, like, you run away from the problem.
Oh, not a jogger or somebody who exercises.
Not a cross country or a track star, okay? No, like somebody who runs from like conflict, or somebody even who runs from affection, somebody who runs from all these kinds of things, somebody who's a runner. A lot of times, if you're constantly running, you're not worried about what you're leaving behind. So I think somebody who's always moving, not moving, like let's say moving houses or stuff like that, but trying to constantly get away from things. I think those things are a problem. I think facing things head on is hard. It's hard to own up to things. It's hard to like be put in front of things. So I think if somebody's a runner, definitely could be seen as a red flag.
Runner. I would probably repackage the phrase as a runner, as an avoider. Runner is funnier and it's more confusing, which I kind of like for the show purposes, I think I'd probably say like conflict avoider maybe would be if I was gonna put a pretty neat package on it. But no, I'm with you. I'm with you. Yet there's part of me that's conflicted because how would you know early on? At what point would you be able to tell with this? So you know, maybe the pre-conversation to this one is Khalil brings somebody over in this hypothetical. What age are you even thinking of this? Like
Okay, 15.
15 years old.
15 years old.
So he's about a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
Brings a girlfriend over.
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
Got it.
How long have they been together?
Okay, let's say they've been together. Okay, at that point in time, I feel like when you're 15, a month is a long time.
That's
So-
commitment. You in there, baby. You in there.
So I think, okay, if they're 15 at this point in time, they've been together a while. They've been together 2 months, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say they started dating.
Okay, 2 months. All right. And then then I guess the question in this idea of a red flag, how apparent will this red flag be over a Thanksgiving situation? What will you is this a red flag you may not see in the first encounter over Thanksgiving? This is an encounter you would only really know by having a close relationship with Khalil, and you're pulling things out of him in conversation and asking questions. How would you even figure out and discover this red flag?
Ooh, okay. Automatically, you can know because if he's a freshman at this point in time. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, if he's 15 and it's Thanksgiving, he's actually might be a sophomore.
Okay.
But so, if this girl has been able to stay at like the same school, let's say she's been at the same school this entire time, or she's been consistently doing something, for a while. If she's been even at the school that this is like a subtle sign. I guess a subtle sign would be like, let's say she was at a different school freshman year, sophomore year, and now she's at his school. Like moving schools a lot. I know that like a lot of kids move schools a lot from like when their parents are in the military, but I do think that eventually causes problems and it makes it harder for them to make more genuine connections and stuff like that. So I think those things, moving schools a lot. So like automatically she might be a runner if she comes and he's like, oh, like she went to a different school next year, or like she just started school this year, like at my school, whatever.
Okay, so different schools.
Or even let's say
But
they
you- but-
don't go to the same school.
But you're saying it's a factor. So you would say, with the exception of military situations, so you would
Even then.
even then as a potential, would you put if their parent has a job where they're kind of moving for the job and being closer and then therefore rearranging them, is that a factor? So in other words, this red flag, it seems like it's a red flag. And we're asking for the symptom of the red flag, and then is the symptom an accurate indicator? You're saying if they change schools, are there any good reasons to change schools then? I think
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course. Let's say you wanted to go to a different school that has a better program,
Yeah.
or something like that. So you go to a different school because they have, like I went to a different school than like my peers because I wanted to be in the health professions program. Or let's say you wanted to do like a law program or a law enforcement program, you
Yeah.
know, stuff like that. I think that's a good excuse as well.
Okay, program. Okay, so then the red flag is a runner. A potential symptom with some conditions is if they're changing schools, and that's the way you kind of figured that out.
Yeah. I do think like that's something that even me, like who like I moved schools, like it was super easy. Once you've already learned how to like cut ties and move on, I think it gets easier the more you do it, Like I mean some people aren't like that, but like as your life moves forward, it's easier to like not dwell on like, oh, I have to not forget everybody in my past. I have to spend time with every single person that I've ever met in my entire life, because at some point you realize like I can't do that.
Right.
But it makes it easier for you to like distance yourself and just get like, go live your life and then just move on, which I think it can be, especially like for my son, like I think it would be heartbreaking if he gets attached to somebody and she's used to like, oh, like even if I get attached, I can just detach really fast and leave,
Yeah. Interesting. Very, very fascinating. So you said you wouldn't even put the condition. So military could be a connected
Factor, yeah.
factor with your red flags. Got you. All right, so here's the twist. Do you see that red flag in you now or along your journey? Because again, we're back to a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
So would you have been this red flag as a 15-year-old?
I think so. Like a little bit. Yeah, I definitely think that. Honestly, I think I was a runner all the way up until when I got married. And even like when getting married, a lot of the times, I've had to confront things like with my husband. Like it's been a constant, like I constantly want to run away from conflict. I constantly don't want to face things. I constantly am like, oh, like let's just get away. But it's like he pushes really hard to like, no, we have to get through this. Like we have to talk about it. You have to face all these things, like you've spent all this time like just looking forward, never looking back. And, I've known him, since we were younger.
Yeah.
So it's like he's seen me do all these things and now he wants answers. It's like all these people that I spent all this time running away from, like didn't hold me accountable because they're not still in my life. It's like he's been in my life this whole time and he's asked me questions like, you've made these decisions, now we have to face it. And it's really hard. It still causes problems for me now. So it's like, yeah, I definitely think that that's how I can recognize that that's something that's very difficult to put up with, especially in a significant other.
Yeah. Okay, so then in that arena, because when you brought up a runner or a conflict avoider, one thing that takes place in those marriages, I believe, I feel like I've heard stories where the person would maybe go stay with the parent if there's conflict. That's one way that's manifested. Like if I'm a conflict avoider and I live with my significant other or I'm living with my spouse, then one thing I'm going to do when there's problems is I'm going to leave the house for a day or two. So do you see that now or do you say, hey, that's a non-issue for us?
Yeah, no, I do that every once in a while.
You're like, I did that twice last week.
I do that all the time. But it's like the problem, the good thing is I'm going to go over there.
Yeah.
And he's going to follow me, like, okay, and I'm going to go back home, obviously.
Yeah.
I was home yesterday, so I keep going back. And it's like the problem doesn't go away, like now I'm finally getting to a point where I'm answering for the things that I've done. So I think it's now I'm just, it's taking time also. I'm not perfect. Like I don't go and stay with my parents as much, as before, but like every once in a while I still, and maybe it's not like spend the night. Maybe every once in a while I'll just go and hang out or something.
Right.
It's
Which
not like
is fascinating. I have heard. Now I'm curious what you're thinking about this perspective on this side of it, on the parent side of it, because I've heard some parents take the position with their adult married children, specifically with their adult married girl children or women children, who they're having some conflict in their marriage. They're like ready to come like spend, whether it's the afternoon, evening, or even the night. And the parent's position is, no. Like when you got married, you decided you're going to work through any and every single issue with your spouse. So you will not use our home. It's one thing if we have a meal. Hey, we'll have a meal. But you're not going to hide in our home from your spouse. And so they have this really like stern position. I'm curious your perspective on that potential with Khalil in his, or even if you guys ever have a daughter one day, what's your perspective on how you would be as a parent in the situation? In other words, if you were a mom and she had a you.
Don't do that to me, Mom. No, okay. No, I'm thinking about it because I think that's exactly what happened with our mom. I think that our mom had gotten into, she had her own problems. She tried to go back home to grandma and grandpa, and they said no. Like, either you cannot come back and forth. You either come back home and that's it, it's over, or you stay over there. And she said that did lead to her maybe putting up with things or like, whatever. I don't think I could do that, especially because I've seen that. I don't think that that's, I don't know specifically what mom has said, but I know that in it, it's been more of like a, I don't know if it was good or bad actually, but I just know that I don't know if I would be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to tell my child.
You
no.
wouldn't know able to do what?
Tell my child like, no, you cannot come home.
No, you cannot come home. So you're saying no, you cannot spend the night here just because you're having marriage problems.
Yeah, like I wouldn't tell them that they can. I would let them come home. I would let my child come home.
Even if it's something you perceived as petty.
I mean, I'm also not going to stop their significant other from coming over.
Okay, so
they can come over here and pretend to be civil.
Yeah, okay.
They're not going to come over to my house and like argue. They can come over here and pretend to be civil.
Yeah, and I think you brought
or even leave the children. Like come over here, leave the children. Y'all go do y'all's own thing.
And you brought up a point of like under what. So a lot of situations I find myself thinking, is this a no never or is this a yes sometimes? And what are those sometimes? What are those conditions? What are those situations and circumstances which I would want to allow my child, my daughter, to come stay at the house while she's having a conflict? If there's verbal violence. I don't know. I think that's a contradiction. If there's a verbal threats of physical violence, or if there's potential violence, hey, like, let's do our part as parents to provide protection 100%. Now, back to the question I asked you about, what if it's petty? What if my kid is in a petty situation and they just need to have maturity about whatever the petty situation is? I could see myself being, no, like, it's conditional. You staying here is conditional. If it's severe, if there's threats of physical violence, if there is, like, let's say somebody threw a dish at somebody.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Now you can stay here however long you want. But if it's like, he didn't wash the dishes last night. It was like, what? That's it? Like, no. So now, like, look, Mija, like, you're going to go work that out. You know what I'm saying? You're going to learn to forgive that little tiny thing.
Yeah.
And you're going to work through that situation. So I think the severity of the conflict makes it conditional for me if I would or would not have them hiding in my home.
Yeah. Well,
don't do that. All right. Red flag on my side.
Okay.
It's if they're too friendly. So this is hypothetical son has a hypothetical girlfriend. We'll put it in your scenario. Friendship, the relationship of 2 months going into Thanksgiving, they come over.
Or too friendly to my husband.
Which is that's the same. Yeah.
Same son. Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing. If the girl is too friendly with me, and which would be the same thing as too friendly with pretty much it's the dad.
Jeremy,
yeah. Too friendly with the dad.
With the dad, yeah.
Then that would be a red flag for me. So what does that mean? It means maybe an overly. It's one thing to say, hey, how are you? How's your job? There's some basic fundamentals you can have, I think, socially. But
have you been going to the gym? Proud you are.
I think like even touching. I think some people are very affectionate, and like it's cool seeing that among women to women when it's like touching the forearm and they're talking or they laugh or say something like that and they reach over and touch like a forearm or whatever. Woman, cool. But like if she like doing that like with me, nah. So I think too friendly with me, red flag. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I definitely think if Khalil's girlfriend was being too friendly with Jeremy better hit him with
the karate chop action.
Get out of my face.
And I think the position, again, this is the instruction manual of how to get in there and win favor with me as a husband, me as a father, me as a potential father-in-law is focus on my wife. You're gonna focus on somebody. Focus on my wife.
That's what I was thinking too, because I was thinking about it vice versa. Like if you had a daughter, and then like her boyfriend brought the mom flowers. Like that's not crazy.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. So I'm cool with her being extra attentive to my wife.
The girl, yes.
Yeah, and then asking questions. Again, the touch stuff is cool. The friendly stuff, really giving compliments of how beautiful she is. All of those, all green flags. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Green, green, green,
Yes.
green, 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 green. But excessively complimenting me, excessively focused on me, nah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a red
no,
flag for me.
definitely excessively. In either way, yeah. I wouldn't want, let's say I had a daughter, her boyfriend doing that either.
Yeah.
And Jeremy wouldn't like that either.
Yeah.
No bueno.
No bueno.
Forehead punch.
All right. Your second red flag.
Being caught in lies. If somebody,
Like my dad is from Scotland.
yeah,
Just kidding.
definitely. No, definitely. I definitely think if you catch somebody just in a lie, ever like in a lie, I think that's a red flag automatically. Once you catch them in their first lie.
Mm.
And especially if you catch them in 3 or 4 or 5 lies.
How do you think that might show up over a Thanksgiving situation where you would hear something and then be able to figure out if it was valid or not?
Because you keep listening. So, like,
Mm.
it's funny because, like, I'll see stuff like that, like, not catching people in lies, but, like, I'll catch somebody say something contradictory or, contradicting themselves or whatever. And I'll tell Jeremy, like, oh, did you hear that? Like, how come that person said this when earlier they said this? And then he's like, I don't know. What are you talking about? I'm like, something fishy's going on.
What percentage would you be at kind of knowing? Would you give yourself a high shooting percentage of your accuracy in discerning the lie?
I mean, if you catch someone, if you actively hear them say it, I mean,
So I'll paint an example. So she comes over, she says, "Oh yeah, family doesn't have very, very much money." And then, so she said that early in the conversation, right?
yeah,
Later on, she talks about she went to Hawaii last summer. Now, it looks like it could be two contradictory statements.
Yeah.
But then so that you could just,
I would pry. I mean, I don't know. I would have to pry. I would have
Okay.
to ask more questions.
right. But you see how it could look like it's
Yeah.
something, but it's not. Then you ask, okay, how were you able to go to Hawaii? I know that trip could be, very costly. Oh yeah, so it was a trip, the class took, we all fundraised it together. We all sold boxes of the world's finest chocolate. We raised a whole
Yeah.
bunch of money and we did car washes on Saturdays, and all of a sudden then now you know the details of how they came about.
Now she's a hard worker.
Yeah. So, okay, catching them in a lie, but you're big so
I'm big on also trying to find, I don't mind
Investigating.
asking,
Yeah.
asking prying questions
Yeah.
myself. So
Yeah.
it's like, I don't mind asking the prying questions, and if somebody's not lying, they'll have answers. Or if they try to, what is it called? Beat around the bush or deflect. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was like something like this. Reflect.
Yeah. Deflect.
Yeah, deflect. Or change the direction of the conversation, then automatic red flags. Because I think that's something that's very manipulative. I think when you're catching somebody not be truthful, and then they start overly talking about something else or being really good at misdirecting the conversation, I think that's a very manipulative trait. Like a car salesman.
Yeah, and that's a good concept. Maybe in my older years, I'm getting a little softer. And I ask myself, why would somebody lie? And I think my heart goes out for some of those reasons. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's say you and Jeremy do really well over the next
Yeah.
10, 12 years in life, and y'all are living in this mansion, and Khalil's, a son living in this really nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
He meets a girl at a track meet, and she
You gonna hit home?
she's a runner. Oh, is that what? Yeah, you guys.
That's
met?
how Jeremy and I met.
Oh, I didn't put that together.
Yeah.
It might have been back there in my brain somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
But so he meets her at a track meet. They're from different parts of town. She doesn't have money. She comes over and she's trying to fit in with the rich family.
Yeah.
And so now she's tempted, right? Like, I want to fit in. I want them to like me. I want them to think that I'm doing well. So there's part of me. I'm not. So I know I'm romanticizing the behavior, which of course my faith would say I'm romanticizing a sin, right?
Yeah.
A wicked behavior. But I'm putting a but in there. But there's my heart that goes out to somebody in the reason why they lie.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess I have some compassion on that.
Yeah.
Not that I think it's acceptable and I think you should get rid of the behavior, but the fear of people knowing you as you really are. I guess it kind of goes back to our conversation about appearance and like
Yeah.
what you would do to mislead somebody and how you actually look without all of the enhancements.
Yeah. That's true.
But no, I think overall it's a solid. I think it's a solid red flag. A lie.
Yeah. Have you ever seen? So you've never seen Dexter, right?
No.
Okay. Well, there's this spoiler. There's this one part where there's a guy in it, right? That's a compulsive liar, right? So he's lying, and as he's talking, Dexter describes it as this guy's the kind of liar where like he's like skating down if he's skating down something, he can just like hop off of like one and then jump right onto another lie. Like even if he's interrupted, like he can just skip straight into another lie.
Yeah.
Like, like switching legs when you're ice skating. Like lie to lie to lie to lie to lie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's one thing if you're lying like just for pure like to be malicious and like trying to get something out of somebody, you're lying. I understand like especially like lying to make yourself look better like in the long term. It's okay, like it's okay especially when you're young. When you're young you really don't think about it, but eventually things are going to come out. They're going to come to light. So it's like I might be able to overlook stuff like that, and especially like thinking about it, if I do realize stuff like that, like I'm not gonna go out and say like, hey, I know you're poor, and so I'm so I'm thinking so I just want to let you know, don't feel bad, but no, I'm gonna like, to me it's like, okay, I'm just gonna let her say whatever she's gonna say. I'm not gonna call anybody out or try to embarrass anybody. To me it's like, okay, eventually we'll get to a point. Or I'm also not going to pry too much either, like if I catch that vibe also. I'm going to pry if I feel like I am catching somebody in a lie on just whatever the lie might be, but I'm not going to overdo it.
Yes.
Because I don't feel like I'm going to be one of those moms that's like, you have to be good enough for my son. And, well, I don't know. We never know. But, like, I was obsessed with that show. What is it called? I Love a Mama's Boy.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, well, it's about like mama's boys and and their girlfriends. So you see like the relationships they have with their kids, and it's intense.
Hold on. Mama's boys, which are sons that have great relationships with their moms, and the sons' girlfriends. In the dynamic between the three.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix or where is it?
HBO Max.
Oh, dang! You got all the subscriptions.
Well, all the family takes turns. We all pay for different ones.
Is that what we do? I didn't know this.
You're not in that Google Doc? Just kidding. Yeah.
All right.
I think Bob says the HBO Max. I do the Paramount.
Nice.
Krish has the Stars.
Look at you guys. Got the whole mix down. What was I going to share? Oh, well, I think to the question of how I would approach or navigate finding out somebody's, in this case, the hypothetical girlfriend of my hypothetical son is lying, and how I would navigate that, I think it would be talking to Angelita about, hey, boo, like, you might want to put your arm around that girl and, give her some advice and some counsel about, like, look, like, you don't have to make yourself look one way. You could just be you. You can be truthful and honest. But I think there's an element of like mentorship, not like in a long lasting manner, but more so in a corrective way.
Yeah.
No, I could see that blowing up, and then like she's like totally embarrassed, breaks up with the with the son, and just like, and the son's mad at us because
Why
we
are you meddling in my stuff?
but
Forehead punch.
yeah, but yeah, that's
I don't punch my son in the forehead.
yeah, solid one. Being caught in a lie.
Yours.
Mine. We are going to male tattoo artists who have drawn on her in semi-private places. And to play it all the way out is
this is very I have no pre-context to this.
Okay, to play it all the way out is 15-year-olds, she's tatted
Yeah.
up. Is that a red flag? To me, I'm going in my brain, no. Other people, it might be a yes.
Okay.
But I'm at a no. But it's
Okay.
the context in which she got the tattoos. Example, if I say, hey, like if she has tattoos, I guess it's called a stamp tramp on the lower back.
A tramp stamp.
What did I call it?
A stamp tramp. A stamp trap walks around with a bunch of stamps and just stamps everybody.
A tramp stamper. A tramp stamp.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stamp tramp
Okay.
would be.
This is a concern, especially if it comes up. I feel like I shouldn't even know about this situation, but for some reason, somehow it comes up. Now I want to know about the artist. Who is the artist that gave the tattoo in that semi-private place?
Or yeah, let's say even on the chest.
On the
right?
chest.
On like in between.
In between.
In between the
or
chest.
like, again, in that area. Because what it tells me
at,
is
at age 15.
at age 15,
Okay.
but probably, again, this is that guide for the significant other. That position probably is forever as well for me. And again, she could be 25. That is 25, and we keep all the conditions the same. And she's tatted up. Tattoos are fine, but the level of comfort she has with other men spending significant time touching, drawing on her body in these close to private areas. Maybe not completely private,
Yeah.
but close to private. Now, here's the curveball in the whole thing. Is because of my faith as a Christian, I believe anybody could be redeemed. Do you know that super, this is like all like super general. There's no way you're gonna know who this is. There's a super tatted goth artist who became a Christian this past year. She's very much a celebrity. Like she has like millions of followers on Instagram. Any idea? Like she has like full.
Is
like,
it black or is it just like style?
Like she has full sleeves of just black. Like
Oh, okay, that's
significant
what I thought.
portions of her is like just tatted black. Now I think she's covered up some things, but she's probably one of the most tatted persons on the planet, as far as like
Oh.
all over. Now, like I've listened to one of her interviews, and she's like a super sweetheart. Like, and I'm like, bro, like she's been redeemed. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think, and not only she's a musical artist, I think she's also a tattoo artist as well.
Oh.
So now you bring all of that curveball. This is what I'm just saying. This is the exception to my position on the entire category, which is, or is there a situation where she could have had a bunch of tattoos done, but okay, now this is like if she had them done by a man before she gave her life to Jesus. Now we're going, there's a grace I will give to a woman, and maybe even to men as well, is your life before Jesus. I'm going to give you some extra grace, some extra mercy that you didn't really fully grasp and understand everything that was going on.
Yeah.
Now, is that right that I would give extra grace and extra mercy to one condition and not to another?
Well, because you feel like, I mean, at least she changed her mind and she's not like gonna be okay with that for future grandchildren. Does that make sense?
Yes. And it's interesting that we're even bringing up this artist, which, we'll have to bring it up maybe next time, the specific artist it is.
Yeah.
Is because she even was talking about, as a tattoo artist herself, not because if she's doing these massive pieces on people's bodies, it's a long portion of time, and she's mindful of how much time she's spending with males who she's giving the tattoos to, if she does males at all anymore.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's an interesting thing from somebody on that side of it who's mindful of this male-female
Yeah.
tattoo experience.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Tattoos. Honestly, I mean, I don't know how comfortable I'd be if somebody showed up all tatted up at 15.
All
You
tatted
know.
up, what would be the line? You know what I'm
would
saying?
be the line?
What's
to me-
what's fine, and then what's okay? Now you've crossed the line at 15.
What's fine for me at 15 is something small, like a tiny something. And definitely for me, it crosses the line once you can't hide it in a nice dress. Like, it crosses the line for me when it's a big piece, like on your arms or on your neck or on your face, or I think even maybe like your legs you can hide in the dress, but like yeah, it's okay. Like, let's say legs, feet, anywhere. To me, like, anywhere really. To me, I don't really care who does a tattoo. Like, as long as it's something, and I don't even know if it's like, oh, like I want it hidden in front of everybody, but it's because it's somebody at 15. Like, I want, like, even me now, like, I've gotten tattoos, and it's like, I'm so grateful that I have all my tattoos where if I have a nice dress on, you can't see them. Because, sometimes you wear a nice dress and, like, your tattoo really doesn't go with everything, So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, probably that's it, yeah. Just because, like, you really can't make decisions like that early, because, I mean, I'm only 24, so I've had my tattoos like 7 years now, so it's like, regrets. Go get a henna. But honestly, those hennas, I don't know how much they are. My first tattoo was like $10.
Yeah. And the hennas, you think are more pricey?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you know what my first tattoo was?
No.
Look, I have it on the back of my neck.
Was it a male artist or a woman artist?
It was a male. Dun dun dun. No. Me and Shanice have matching tattoos.
On the neck?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But even that one, like, I can't wear my hair up without anybody seeing it. Sometimes I feel like when I have my hair up, people are like, oh, she's ghetto. When I turn around,
Yeah.
But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just my own internal self-conscious.
Being self-conscious, yeah. Got you. Okay. Tattoo artists. So if Kello came over and he's like, hey, Mom, we got matching tattoos before Thanksgiving. Da-da-da-da.
On your arm! On your arm!
That's hilarious. Okay. All right. Your turn.
Okay. Somebody who breaks promises. Or doesn't keep their word. Yeah, I guess somebody who breaks promises.
How do you think you might be able to discover this red flag? What's a hypothetical that would come up?
Hypothetically, Kalal comes home. He's kind of upset, and I say, "What's wrong?" And he's "Oh, nothing. It's just 'cause I asked my girlfriend not to."
eat hot Cheetos anymore.
Not to eat
And sure enough, I saw the crumbs on her fingers.
No, let's say not to eat hot Cheetos and like rub them on my shirt anymore or something, right? Like eat hot Cheetos, get it on her fingers, and then like touch me. And then, right? I was wearing a white shirt today. She promised me she wasn't going to do it again. She's eating hot Cheetos and then she rubs them on my shirt. To me, okay, she already promised you she wasn't going to do it. Why is she doing it?
Yeah.
To me, yeah. Maybe, okay, not wanting her to eat hot Cheetos, that's a little far. It's a little controlling. That's a little controlling, Kalal.
All right.
But like, she promised me she was going to go to my game and then now she wants to go out with her friends, so she's not going to go. Something like that. To me, it's like, she kind of said she was going to already, so.
Yeah.
Negative.
I think, so I know we haven't been going into this as much in the conversation, which is kind of assessing our own connection with our own red flags. But I think actually on the first one, but not on your second or even on mine. But on this one, I think I would be a red flag. Or I have been. I would be a massive red flag in this connection because I think there's so many times I've talked to somebody and I'm like, oh yeah, man, I'll hit you so we can hang out. And like that phrase would come out, but the action would never happen. Like, again, if we're saying that's a verbal commitment, right? That's a commitment to somebody to connect with them and make a hangout happen.
Yeah.
If there's a list somewhere in the books, in the great books of our sins with the most, I'm probably top 10. Like as far as like I've uttered that phrase and done zero follow-up. I've got somebody's phone number. I've said we'll hang out. I said we'll connect, but then nothing happens. It's been so many times. So I'd probably be a red flag before. Now I just try to not say anything. Just commit to very, very, very little, and you could almost always fulfill the commitment.
I think it's especially different that being an adult. Like me and my friend Ariel, we tell each other stuff like that. Oh yeah, I'll talk to you later, or yeah, we'll hit each other up. And it'll be like 2 weeks go by and we don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
But we're our only friends. It's just us two. So for us, it's like, but I have run into that problem, like, with other people. But it's like, to me, it's like we're adults, things come up. But I feel like when you're 15, what do you really have? Unless, your parents work a lot and you have to watch your younger siblings and stuff like that, then I can understand.
Yeah.
But like, you're 15. To me, it's like, when I was 15, I was the youngest. No one was in the house. Like, it was just me. Like, I literally just had practice, school, and then whatever. So it was like if I said I could do something, practices are on set days, school's on set days.
Yeah.
Even if once I had a job, it was like that was set days. If I said I was able to do something when I was able to do it, there was no reason that I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But obviously like life things like, oh, my car broke down or I don't have a car, I don't have a ride, those things are also understandable.
Yeah.
But just like, that's why I gave the specific example of like, oh, she promised me she was going to come, but instead she wants to go and hang out with her friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, breaking a promise for things that are like by choice, breaking a promise by choice and breaking a promise by situation is different.
Yes, I got you. I got you.
So like, yeah.
Yeah, actually broke 2 commitments, 2 meetings this past week and a half because of doctor's appointments, which were like, again, this one, I broke a meeting yesterday morning at 8 a.m. because I went for my knee just to get it checked out, x-rayed and MRI. MRI scheduled for next month. So, but yeah, that would be, I guess, situational, not so much a red flag overall.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Got you. Okay. Promise breaker. All right. Number 3 for me. Yoga pants. I did the other day notice the hijabis, which, do you know what a hijabi is?
I thought it was just hijab, but yeah.
Hijab is the head covering. You know what a hijabi is?
The face also?
It's the woman wearing the head covering. So hijabis would be the women wearing the head covering.
Yeah, okay.
So hijabis.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah. So I looked and I saw naturally I'm not Muslim. Right?
Really? Wow.
Now, clearly not Muslim, but there is respect,
Hmm.
immense respect that I have for their way of life, especially the women, very modest and mindful as far as their appearance and all that. And in a way, I'm like, respect. Like they go in the whole nine. Like and Angelina too. Angelina has so much respect for them as well. And I was like, the other day, I don't know why. I think I was around some hijabis, and I looked down at their feet, and then I was like, oh snap, she like on her ankle. I saw the yoga pants or whatever. Like, but everything else is covered. So I mentioned the yoga pants, not to say that they would be a red flag,
How dare she
but
wear yoga pants under a full robe?
right. So she would pass the red flag on that one. But it's more of the yoga pants. It's just exposing it's like black paint,
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever color paint.
Even at the gym? What do you want women to wear at the gym? Sweatpants?
Sure.
Not yoga pants?
We were talking about my red flags for my kid, right? I mean, women can wear whatever. I mean, clearly women wear whatever they want to the gym and a bunch of other circumstances, situations. If we're saying my red flags with how she dresses, she comes over in yoga pants and it's not covered in a robe, then it's a red flag.
Even if they're thick?
Thick yoga pants?
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand.
Okay, look. Let me see. I guess, okay. I would be a walking red flag in high school then because I think all I wore was yoga pants. But also, I was a cheerleader. So you wear, like, skin-tight clothing.
Which I've asked myself about. So cheerleading in high school and volleyball in high school, like, there's some pretty revealing outfits out there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, they are.
and I'm going, is that a red flag for me? It could be. It's like if it's not a red flag, it's right on the border.
It's dancing on
It's
the
like
line.
yeah, it's dancing on that edge. So I think that could add to the mix. Here's the unfortunate part. You've seen those YouTube those viral content that where it's like a curvy woman who's a teacher of like kindergartens or whatever, and like she's getting persecuted because she wears skin tight clothing, but then like the same outfit on a teacher who's
like a
very
thin-
petite,
yeah.
thin, tiny, it's not a problem whatsoever. It's like, oh, like
Yeah.
it's not the outfit, it's the fit of on the body.
Yeah.
Right.
that
So
makes
then
sense.
I do think there is a double standard in my brain.
Yeah.
Like, so it's yoga pants on a certain body types look one way on yoga. But again, not that I'm like doing a whole inspection on, okay, how does the yoga pants look on extra thin women? Like, is there an
Yeah.
issue? I don't really know. But would there be, I feel like when I begin to describe what I prefer it to be like for a modest young woman, I think when I begin describing it, it'd be like loose yoga pants. But I think at that point they don't become yoga pants anymore. They're like
Yeah.
sweats. They're just back to sweats
Yeah.
are joggers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thinking. Let me just scratch the whole yoga pants. Let's just say revealing clothing in general. I don't know why, but I've always, if you're not swimming, let's say like that, but mom was always, and maybe it's because mom was born, in the 60s or whatever, but she was always like, and she listened to her parents a lot. She always said, oh, like you can't show cleavage, your stomach and your legs and your shoulders, and your shoulders and your collarbone. She's like, either you have to pick, you either show your legs and, you're like, let's say show your legs and your shoulders. You can't show like your tummy and your cleavage, like you
Mhm.
can't, you could wear like a collar, you could show your shoulders and your legs, or you could no legs and you could show like your belly a little, but she's
Yeah.
like, but you can't do everything. And I don't know if it's that, like, I don't know if it's that because she said it, that's how I always thought, but that's where I feel comfortable also. You know, like I don't think that, let's say somebody is wearing, like, even like you said, like yoga pants. Are they also wearing a, a crop top? You know, yoga pants, a crop top. Also, especially if you're not in the gym. Coming over to meet your boyfriend's parents, maybe don't wear yoga pants and pasties with a mesh shirt on, you know?
What are pasties?
Stickers that go over your nipples.
Time out. I'll rewind. So you're saying don't wear pasties.
I'm saying pasties with a mesh shirt. Like,
Oh,
put a
pasties
regular
with a mesh
with
shirt.
a mesh shirt.
Okay.
Like, don't wear pasties. Don't. Okay. if you're not gonna wear anything, wear pasties. But don't wear a mesh shirt at all. Don't wear a mesh shirt and a bra. Don't wear a mesh shirt, pasties,
Yeah.
and yoga pants. Like, okay, if you're gonna do bra mesh shirt, then at least put sweatpants and shoes on.
Yeah.
That's what. But definitely, maybe not to go meet your boyfriend's parents for the first time, unless you want them to think you're a wild one. I mean, that's what I would assume. Okay, actually, don't come for me. Y'all do whatever y'all want, but that's not what I would be very inclined for my son. I wouldn't want my son to do that, to bring a girl home with a mesh dress and pasties and Spanx on.
Yeah. Got it. Got it.
I guess I'm going extreme.
Well, then so if you have a daughter, are you giving her, you like stopping at her at the door and be like, hold on right here, sweetheart. We need to change things up a little bit. We need to put a few layers on and pick one of the 4 areas to be exposed. What do you?
I definitely.
Good, knowing that functionally it's not that difficult to take off a layer once you're out of the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But how do you see yourself navigating that?
Oh. I'm trying to think. Okay, maybe talk to her at, like, I'm just gonna be like, is everybody dressing like that? Can you pull up some pictures and let me see everybody else?
And then she goes, yes, and use the classic parent line, if everybody jumped off a bridge, would you jump off one too?
Maybe. If it works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. No, I definitely would be like, okay. Or even just like, honestly, if my daughter is working hard, she's making the grades, she's, does everything she's supposed to do, and she wants to dress, low rise, booty shorts, crop top with no top, and she's doing really good at everything, I mean, I'm still going to track her phone. And if she's going out like that, I might creep behind her. But yeah, I guess. I mean, against my better judgment. But I mean, that's just me speaking.
Yeah.
I know Jeremy, my husband, this is just me by myself. Jeremy's not around. But Jeremy's probably around. Jeremy's going to say, he might say something.
Yeah.
Or he's going to, I know Jeremy. Jeremy would say, who are you trying to look good for? Jeremy says that to me. I brush my hair. He's like, who you brush your hair for? I haven't brushed my hair in 2 weeks. You! But yeah, I think Jeremy would be like, who are you trying to look good for? And she's like, no, just myself. Well, why? If you're looking good for yourself, how come when you're here in the house, you're dressed in sweatpants and a baggy t-shirt?
Yeah.
That's how you dress in the house. For your family, maybe that's how you should dress outside. That's just me thinking about
Preach it, Jeremy.
that what Jeremy would say. Me as a mama,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, I would probably do whatever Jeremy would say too. Like if he was on, don't be letting her go out like that. You know, I would have to be on his side.
That's right.
Also.
Is it wrong to use Muslim as a verb? Because I think like he would Muslim you. Is what I was thinking. He'll give you a direction that you would follow. I feel like it's a
guess so.
compliment to a submissive society that is now lost in America. All right. On that note,
Keep going.
we did yoga pants number 3 on mine, number 4 on yours.
I don't think Jeremy would ever want to be on our podcast. He might we could call him on the phone. He could talk, but I don't think he would ever come on the podcast.
You could ask him for some text messages that we could read off.
At some point in time, right?
Yeah. Angelita's similar. She just prefers to be in the background and not in the public eye. All right. Where are we at? All right. You're number 4.
Somebody who's unreliable. But I think that one kind of went into my promise breaker one too. But,
cool. Well, then you want to go to the next one?
Yeah. Somebody who lacks compassion. So they see you crying. They don't even care. You're crying for a stupid reason.
Oh my gosh.
Get over it already. Done. Be done with it.
How do you discern that one? How would you hypothetically discover a compassion or lack of compassion? I know what you could do. You could have a friend or family member dress up as homeless right outside the house begging for money.
Just earlier today, oh my gosh, I felt so bad because Jeremy's not very confrontational, right? Jeremy gets out to put gas and this lady comes, gets right in front of him and she's like, sir, can you please, my grandfather is having surgery, whatever. And we're on a crunch time, right? Because I'm trying to make it here on time. I gotta pump milk. I gotta drop off Khalil. I have all these things we have to do. And I'm like, let's hurry up and put gas. Hurry. We had already went out of our way to the gas station. So then I'm like, hurry. And she's talking for a long time. And Jeremy cannot cut her off because he's not very confrontational. So then I'm like, ma'am, I'm so sorry, but we do not have time today.
Yeah.
And she was all, she flicked me off. And she walked away. I was like, hurry up, put the gas. I was like, we don't have cash. We're going to listen to this whole 20-minute spiel. Just tell me you want some change and I'll say, sorry, I don't have any.
Yeah.
Jeremy always takes the change out of my bag because he likes to put it into the jar. But anyways, does that make me uncompassionate? I was sitting.
You're your own red flag.
I was sitting there Khalil was crying. I grabbed him and I'm trying to feed him and Jeremy's trying to put the gas and we're trying to do everything and I'm just like, I'm like, Jeremy's not gonna tell her that to walk and talk. No, he's not. He's gonna sit there and wait. So I'm like, sorry, no, we cannot help the homeless today. No, I don't think they were homeless.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, continue. I probably wouldn't set up a homeless person outside. But, I've met some pretty shady people who always give money to the homeless.
So you're saying that act in and of itself doesn't make somebody compassionate?
Yeah. I think
Fair.
Maybe seeing the way you treat your loved ones, whether you have compassion for them or not, and especially it's different if it's a loved one who constantly treats you bad, and then let's say you have a loved one, the way you treat the ones you love, not just loved ones like your family, but your loved ones, people that you love. I feel like even sometimes people who are uncompassionate, even the people that they love, when they feel some type of way, they're still kind of get over it. It's not that serious. Or they make things more about themselves. Maybe that's more selfish, somebody who's selfish.
Well, they can go together
Hand in
as
hand, right?
vice and virtue next to each other. A compassionate person maybe isn't very selfless, and a selfish person isn't very compassionate. All right, a compassionate person is selfless.
Yeah, I heard it backwards, but I didn't know.
And then a
you were so confident.
selfish person is not compassionate. Yeah.
So that's maybe I would notice by let's say Khalal's at the house, right? Something happens and he drops his food on the floor, right?
Yeah.
And he gets upset and he's like, man, I really wanted that food. And she's just kind of doesn't even say anything. Just you deal with that on your own. Doesn't want to comfort him, doesn't want to help, doesn't, to me, that's okay. like, you know, if that's supposed to be his girlfriend, you're not being like compassionate to like, oh, he's upset now because his food's on the floor.
Like if his sloppy Joe stuff was thrown into the trash, you'd want. She just breathes deeply.
Precisely. Yeah. I feel like if his sloppy Joe got tossed into the trash, I'd at least expect her to say, I'm sorry you didn't get to eat your sloppy Joe.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a good one. Liking compassion. You know, when we're going through a list like this, part of me, like the Christian character in me, which is like, let me come up with answers that are not Christian, but it's like, why does everything feel like comes back to stuff like that's like Christian oriented? It's like trying to give an answer outside of that, even like modest dressing and like I try to even when I'm writing books and stuff, I try to like, they're not Christian books yet. I'll eventually write Christian books. My books are supposed to be it's like really neutral but logical and sound in that way.
Yeah.
But so in some of my answers, like I was trying not to make it overly like, oh, because of the Christian stuff, you need another water.
No. I just wanted to move it, but I didn't want
But
to if I wasn't done.
a lot of this, I mean, virtually all of your almost all of your red flags are connected to Christian like scriptures, which is interesting. I was thinking about that too, like because I was like, if
They came straight from the dome.
I was thinking about if we asked ChatGPT for the common red
that's
flag,
what I was
red
thinking too.
flags.
Like, if we came up with them this time, unlike before. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if we asked, and how many of them would be, oh, like, you know, be selfless. Okay, cool. Christian. Okay, all right. Be honest. Okay, Christian. Okay, be serving. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, just all of this stuff comes back to the same stuff, which I don't prefer to be redundant, but like when redundant happens to be a very, very similar answer, then
Yeah.
I'll rock with it and I'll stand with it. All right, lacking compassion. Any other thoughts there?
Nope.
Okay. I know we are at the 62-minute mark. Maybe we'll share one. I think you went first, so maybe.
Yeah. You do one more.
Maybe I'll do one more. Yeah, then we can wrap.
All right.
Okay, which one? All right, this one is gonna be. I'll pick wild music.
Ooh, that's a good one. Craziness.
Which about me and my own being. It's like, yes, if you know an Eminem song.
For those of y'all that don't know, I can sing some Eminem songs karaoke.
Without having the words in front of her.
Precisely.
No.
I could shoot him off right now.
Right. So so similarly with me, there are certain wild songs. Like there was like a Ludacris song, like the whole thing was about sex, like the whole thing, like from the start to the end, and it's still very much ingrained in my brain. And so, but the idea of, I'm trying to think of a situation how I would know a 15-year-old does or does not listen, or what she listens to.
Give her the ox.
The ox.
Or,
the ox card.
Let everybody pick a song. You know, everybody comes and writes down a song. You know, or everybody picks 3
or
songs.
if we're doing a family karaoke night
Yeah.
at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then she picks a song, and then she goes up with an Eminem. Now,
if she goes up with an Eminem song and she out raps me.
what would you do if she came up and she did an Eminem song and she did your Eminem song, and then would she earn more points or would she lose more points?
Ooh, maybe more points. Honestly, this kind of does like make me nervous because so I have a friend. Okay.
I have a friend. Wink, wink.
I've known someone in the past. So my friend that I don't really talk to as much anymore, right? So I had a friend in the past who taught me, like, man, she had all the tricks on how to like stalk somebody, right? So like if she liked someone, she would go and she would find out like where they went to elementary, where they went to middle school, who their parents were, where they lived, the kind of like she would find their like Spotify playlist, their Apple Music playlist, the kinds of music that they listen to, anything. She would go through then their parents' Facebook stuff, right, and see all the things that their parents like, all the things that their family members like. If they're close to somebody, they'll go through their stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, what if one day Khalil gets older and he meets a girl like that, and then she comes back and watches our podcast. She watches this one, and then she learns all this stuff, and then, like you were saying at the beginning,
She prepared the Eminem song just for the
for
karaoke.
for the karaoke. I'm not saying which Eminem song. Then.
She picks the wrong one.
Don't be rapping Eminem songs.
They're gonna taste my venom.
And you- Venom.
Classic.
Yeah.
The question is, here's maybe this is our final wrap up question. So,
But if she gets up there and she starts singing some,
Taylor Swift.
no, not Taylor Swift. I'm saying like,
Wait, I got Ice Spice, Cardi B.
maybe Cardi B, or like even Megan Thee Stallion's a little, or even some things that Nicki Minaj be singing. Just anything that says the P word in my house. Absolutely. I mean, she might be Shanice's biggest fan after that, but not. I'll be nervous.
Yeah.
I'll be nervous.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Here's my follow up question to that one is: the girl likes Khalil.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes and asks Jeremy for advice about how to best impress you. Do you want Jeremy to give her your whole playbook? Because, hey, she showed the initiative of asking Khalil's dad on how to best impress Khalil's mom. How much of the playbook do you want Jeremy to reveal about you?
Honestly, I would want him to tell him whatever he knows, because at this point, I don't know what he knows. Like, to me, it's like, okay, Jeremy's not going to watch this. I don't think. I'm not sure. So to me, it's like, is he going to say, he wouldn't even know, like, say, go back and watch the podcast. He would just say whatever, like, I don't know, buy her or get her whatever it is, like, get her Reese's Pieces chocolate, you know? Just like that, you know? Jeremy's going to maybe give her a couple of things, and I'm going to know right away. Like, he's going to give her, like, three general things. Like, get her this, buy her cranberry
Buy her
juice.
a lunch of Sloppy Joes.
buy Sloppy Joes, you know? Something like that. So I'm like, ugh. Yeah, pretty much it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't mind, like, Jeremy, yeah, he can give her the whole, whatever he thinks the playbook is, he can hand it right over, because I'm 90% sure that it's going to have 3 things on it, and I'm going to know it's going to be the same 3 things he gets me for Valentine's Day every year. And I know that it's going to be the same 3 things he's been getting me for the last, you know, if Khalil's 15, it'll be the same thing. He's predictable.
Do you think so? Now I'm curious what I would tell Angelita to tell.
Yeah.
If she, let's say again, we have a daughter, a guy asks her as Angelita how to best impress me.
That sounds more like nice.
You think that's more nice? You think the other one sounds crazy? It's the same thing. So in this situation, you think you would have a double standard?
Yeah, I think I'm at a double standard, because I do feel like girls are kind of I don't think Jeremy would give very good girl advice, like, hey, do this. But like, to me, like, so for me, if Jeremy was like really thought about it, he would say, oh, like, something you could do that's really nice for her is, you know, help her plant, help her garden or whatever, like doing something like an act of service, that's something that I would think that would be nice for Jeremy to tell her to do, right? But
Yeah.
knowing Jeremy, he's gonna just say like, oh, just go buy her a piece of chocolate, right? But like you saying like, I don't think Jeremy would give very good advice like for the girl, but even then, like I think like I maybe it's something about like men, like a man trying to get another man's respect to me is more valuable than like a woman trying to just. For me, I think women are kind of like could tend to be a little more like feisty, so it's like women are just trying to not piss each other off. I feel like Khalil's girlfriend would just be trying to not get on my bad side, whereas like I think men, like guys, don't tend to like, oh, like I don't have hate for that person, I just don't care. So it's like he wants respect rather than just like not to be hated. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it almost sounded like you were gonna say like women are more conniving and manipulative, and then men are more like honorable and valiant. But
I definitely think there can be conniving and manipulative men.
Yeah, for sure. Now, no, the question is, inside of that question, would you prepare Jeremy with the response you want him to give to her?
Maybe now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe.
So what would be that prepared response?
I guess it would also just have to be like whatever's going on at that time. Like let's say I'm working and let's say Khalil has a younger sibling and I'm doing stuff for the PTA. I'm baking cookies for the, a bake sale that Khalil's going to have.
Yeah.
If let's say at that point in time, I would say, oh, like tell her that she knows that I have to do, do the bake sale. Tell her that to offer to help me. Like that. Which again, it's like the act of service thing.
Yeah. I didn't realize active service was so important to you. I feel like I've seen that more and more on this pod, how much active service means to you. But cool. Yeah, interesting, like in different conferences I'd been to in the Christian world, when we go to like a class on, hey, how do you really help people become Christians? And like, I remember going to one and it was pretty remarkable. And the guy just said, hey, if you ever want to show people how much you care about them, and if they have kids, like the best thing you do is love their kids. Like if you show respect and love, consideration to the children, parents will feel it automatically.
Yeah.
And I think as I was trying to process, how would I want Angelita to respond to the guy who's asking, hey, and I think she would say this, but if she wouldn't, I would tell her to say something along the lines is, look, if you want to impress him, there's nothing you can do. Derek doesn't need your help. He doesn't want your gifts. He doesn't even need you to talk to him. But if you want to impress him, serve his daughter. Be gentle with her. Be humble in arguments and in discussions. Be patient with her mistakes. It's like one scripture that talks about clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. I think if my wife would give a verse to that dude, we'd be like, hey, if you can live out this verse, compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience, you're set. If you put on these clothes as you interact with our daughter, you will have all of his respect in the world.
Yeah.
Break those, compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. If you're the opposite of those, if you're the opposite of kindness, which is rudeness, the opposite of compassion, which is, hostility, compassion, kindness, humility, maybe arrogance, you think too much of yourself.
Yeah.
And gentleness, it's harshness. And I think patience is the last one. Patience is the last one.
Short.
Being short, being impatient, being overly aggressive. If you want to command his disrespect, you go the opposite route of those.
Yeah.
So I think it's something around virtuous character and just treat his daughter the right way. You won't have a problem at all.
Yeah.
I think it's along the lines of where I'd be.
That was a good one.
I was cooking right there.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to hop in next Tuesday, 12 o'clock, same time. If you're still listening in Amy, give them the best reason of why they should subscribe and leave a comment below. Tell them why they should subscribe and why they should leave a comment below. Go.
Lots of pressure. Lots of pressure. If you like the brother-sister duo.
Yes.
Also, if you do want to hear more or eventually do want to hear from Jeremy or do want to hear from Angelita, or hear from anybody in the stories we've been bringing up, if you like it, subscribe. We're more likely to do this more and bring in the people we've previously talked about.
That's right. All right. We'll see y'all next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Same time, same channel. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.